Paradise. Just say play Fox Sports 97.9 Hartford.
All right, we're back. Hard to tell who was a winner and who was a loser because I thought there was some good players. I don't know about great players. You never know. I mean, I know the statistics of it. I don't want to get into it, but some of these guys aren't going to be in the league in 3-4 years. There's a quick turnover ratio. These lower level guys, I mean, some of them will stick because you need backups and you need guys on the practice squad. But for the most part, because of money and salary cap and things like that, a lot of these guys, you're going to the draft every year. You're going to the draft every year, and you're trying to re-up and retool and get younger and stronger. And like Ben, you said, some of these guys coming out are 24, 25 years old. They've been in college for
Especially
5 years. The Spencer Rattler, just to bring him up for a second, they went back 6 years. There was some Netflix show that they didn't like some of the things that he did. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was a tool. Still am. But, I mean, to go back when the kid was in high school QB, whatever, and judge the guy on that, I felt bad for Spencer Rattler. But he is older. Some of these quarterbacks coming out are 23, 24, 25. The Plummer kid, I read a little bit deeper. He's been to 3 schools in 3 years. Maybe there's a problem there.
Finished at Louisville.
Yeah, I mean, so some of these things, yes, I can understand. But some of the other things, I was like, oh, my God, you're going back into a Netflix series from 6 years ago to judge this poor guy? And so he fell to the 5th round.
It's, the most nitpicking kind of thing we do in sports is break these guys down when we're about to draft them and then forget about this talk when we get to September, maybe October. Like, all this stuff is out the window, and is this guy going to work out or is this guy not going to work out? I did think position-wise, just looking at the positions drafted was very telling of where the sport and basically the money is going and what teams want to do to get their guys on rookie deals versus guys that they may want to get in free agency or even off their practice squad. It just felt like quarterback was a main priority for a lot of teams. And so many teams not only got one, but they've got 2, whether it be Michael Penix at Atlanta or the New England Patriots drafted 2 quarterbacks. I think that's very interesting. Like we always say, or I guess we said at the end of last week, like, yeah, these guys got to know if you're taking another quarterback. It should be just common courtesy to let Cousins know you're going to be drafting Penix. What do you think Drake May's going through when he's drafted 3rd overall, and then all of a sudden in the 5th round,
Here comes Joe Milton.
Wait a second. Is this a competition all of a sudden? I kind of like it, but the other thing that really was telling with the quarterback run and the Jets getting Jordan Travis, or just people putting decent quarterbacks at their QB2. Dude, we had 60-plus quarterbacks play last year. These guys are going to get injured. 60-plus quarterbacks got starts in the NFL last year. So you better have plan B ready to go because plan A could go down in the 4th play of the season.
Right now I got 7 defensive tackles, 7 cornerbacks in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So we went from wide receiver, offensive tackles, and quarterbacks to, okay, what else do we need? Oh, we need edge rushers. Let's get the 2nd, round full of edge rushers, defensive tackles, and now we're going with a lot of guys, the last line of defense with the cornerbacks.
And that, I think, was the New York Giants with, them. I've been saying for the last couple of years, I think that their front defensive line is one of the best, especially the big boy in the middle. I love the defensive line of the New York Giants. Now, for them to add Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky in the 3rd round was huge for them. Also, Nubin, the Minnesota safety that they got in the 2nd round, 45th pick overall, 47th pick overall. That was a priority for them to not only get their quarterback, the opposing quarterback, to get rid of the ball a lot quicker with the awesome defensive front they put together in the last 2 years, but now they have got playmakers to make interceptions and turn the ball over to give them advantages in a tough division, very tough division. So I would have liked the Giants to put some kind of pressure on Daniel Jones at the position of quarterback. But I do understand the other moves that they made were needs, and they filled them with really good players.
When you get to the third round, a lot of running backs, a lot of linebackers, a lot of guards. So we started to kind of break out. No quarterbacks chosen. So it just we branched out a little bit more into second line of defense, a little bit off of center and in from the tackles, and we actually got 4 running backs drafted in the third round.
Was Blake Corum the first one off the board?
No,
to the
he
Rams?
was not. It was Trey. No, it was Trey Benson.
Trey Benson. I think that
Florida
the kid
State.
from Texas was up there as well.
Yep.
Where did Trey go? I forget.
Corum went 19th. He was the 83rd pick.
Yeah, he's going to the Rams.
Benson went to the Cardinals.
You're right, the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals draft. Now, they had a bunch of picks. But they have got some speed and some talent in really key positions for scoring touchdowns. Defensively, I don't know. Still a question mark there, and I don't really know what the direction for the Arizona Cardinals is. But
Jonathan Brooks did go in the second round out of Texas. I knew that. There was one.
Where did he go?
He went to the Panthers.
Right.
But all right, to get back to that. So Russell Wilson goes to Pittsburgh. But then quickly you go and get Justin Fields. And over the weekend, when I was watching the draft, you had Mike Tomlin come on. And Mike Tomlin's like, well, right now on paper, we got Russell Wilson penciled in. But there's going to be a competition, and Justin will have an opportunity to try to win the job. What are you thinking of your Russell Wilson? The same thing that happened to Kirk Cousins. You're thinking, why did you sign me in the first place if you're going to go and do what you did? But I said this last week, and I'll say it again. Nobody owes you an explanation. Yeah. It would help with the communication and the trust level, but we're running this thing, man. I'm the owner. He's the president. He's GM. These are the people that are in charge of the talent and the these are the people that are in charge of all this other. We don't need to make that phone call to you if we don't want to. Now, we saw how it worked out with Aaron Rodgers. He hated the Packers for the rest of the time he was there.
But it worked out for the Packers.
Luckily.
I do think
that doesn't always work out.
True, but it's a copycat league. And when you look at the defending champs, like Kansas City, they made a risk taking a high-ranked prospect, even though they just signed Alex Smith. It's still working out for them. If you look at where Atlanta has been in the last couple of years, they're in a neighborhood that is so winnable. The NFC South is ripe for the picking, and if just you have the talent minus the quarterback right now, you would think Atlanta could win. Now, if you look beyond the NFC South and actually want to try to win a Super Bowl this year, then yeah, you're not going to do it so much with the rookie quarterback than you are a proven guy in Kirk Cousins. Bringing him on, you should be set for this season. Again, don't know what he's going to be like with the Achilles. I understand the $100 million, but if he works out for 2 years and then you have a seasoned Sam Penix Jr. at the age of 26 start for the next 5 to 10 years, that is a good window of opportunity that the Atlanta Falcons have built around that one position, like the Packers, like the Kansas City Chiefs.
What does it tell us that tight end-wise 6 went in the 4th round? That they're not as great because what?
Big drop-off.
Bauer went in the 1st round.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Yeah.
So one guy goes in the 1st round. We pretty much nobody else goes until the 4th round.
I think you got to be special at this position because they're just big guys that are coming from the basketball court that have proven that you can plug them in. When you're not getting smoked over the middle like you were in the good old days, like there's no fear for these monsters anymore. So give me a guy that can catch that's 6'8", and we can kind of teach him the football. And I know that that's NFL, but there are so many examples of that. When you're drafting, you want to get guys that you definitely don't want on your roster other than others. Like Brock Bowers, who was a sought-after tight end for the entire league. So you want to try to steal him so you get him and nobody else does. That's, the basics of the draft. But also, for these guys on rookie deals, you got to look at what the position actually pays and go to the franchise tag chart. Tight ends are not worth as much on the franchise tag chart and they're exposable. Like or disposable. You can get rid of them if you want, unless they're super special. And we only have a handful of super special tight ends. I do think those super special tight ends are difference makers when it comes to these Super Bowl caliber teams. But again, I know Kelsey just got his
he got an extension, but I did want to say this Theo Johnson gets great grades after the combine. He really upped himself. The Giants got him, and I think this is the 4th round. Yeah, so the Giants got this guy. Let me give you the particulars on this guy. 6'6", 260, runs a 4.57 40. Didn't have great statistics at Penn State, but he's a great inline blocker. And so when you look at this guy, in uniform and on the sidelines, he looks like he can play. They're just going to have to coach this guy up.
Well, the same with like BYU's Isaac Rex, 6'6", 250, did not get drafted. And again,
But you don't think a 4.6 40 for a stinking 6'6", 260 guy?
Yeah,
I think that's outstanding.
It definitely is. Now we're talking another 4th rounder. Right,
4th rounder but the Giants get him.
But still,
somebody for Daniel Jones to pick out.
There are more receivers in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. There's more offensive tackles, more defensive tackles, more even second-string quarterbacks.
Well, those are specialty items. Those are your high-end items. So now we're getting into your meat and potatoes guys.
Right.
In 4, 5, 6. And this guy, to me, okay, so you got a great wide receiver in the 1st round for the Giants. But in the 4th round, you pick up a guy that can get you 3 to 5 yards on 3rd down. Huge target. They say he's got huge hands, good catcher. So that's something that you need to utilize. Honestly, that's what, to me, if this guy can block and get you 5 yards on 3rd down, could turn into a great pick for the Giants.
But they just tried it with Darren Waller, and he didn't have the Pro Bowl performance that everybody was expecting last year.
Maybe his wife is holding him back.
Well, they're getting a divorce.
There you go.
Maybe it's going to have that off his mind.
I'm kidding. Don't get on me about that.
I don't know. It's something there. I always think about that. But again, not only when you pick this guy that you want him on your team, don't forget, you're also picking him so the other 31 don't have him.
Yep,
and
that's a great
point. The only tight end that I would be afraid of is Brock Bowers, and for him to go somewhere else. Now, again, the Theo Johnson, is it Johnson?
No.
Theo. He could turn into a Pro Bowl tight end. At the time right now, his pick is not worthy top 3 rounds.
Yeah, it is Theo Johnson.
Because I'm not afraid of the Patriots getting Theo Johnson. I'm not afraid of the Jets getting Theo Johnson.
No, but if the Cowboys got Theo Johnson, I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
Because they have a good history of drafting tight ends.
I'm more afraid of Malik Neighbors.
Listen, I agree. But like you said this too. The first 3 rounds, the first really 2 rounds, you've got to get the best available.
Yes.
And we saw that with wide receivers, the tackles, and the edge rushers. Saw that with the QBs. We don't know. I mean, let me finish with who do you think the worst was? I mean, I hate to say anybody's the worst.
Man, did you guys see the Bears take that punter in the 4th round? Oh,
man. Who takes a punter in the 4th round? Nobody.
Now he's one of the best punters, whatever that means. It's like, being the best average soccer player in the MLS. Same as best punter in the NFL. And he is from Iowa, and the geography over there. Iowa, Chicago is kind of one and the same. There's a lot of people in Iowa that are Bears fans and whatnot. But 4th round, huh? 4th round. Don't they have a soccer team? Chicago Fire, right? Could have found one on Chicago Fire.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do some dibbles and bits for you next.